I had many subscribers on YouTube ask me in the comment section, and I also get this question a lot during our YouTube lives, and it pops up very often. So I decided to make a video dedicated to this topic. And also I have 30 years experience in this topic. So yes, I started in this industry when I was 10 years old. Kidding. But anyway, so first, there is so much confusion around the nail anatomy, and you hear people call a nail plate a nail bed, or they call a skin fold a cuticle, which is very confusing. So let me very quickly show you a diagram and show you what I will be explaining, so we are on the same page. And once you understand the anatomy and how the nail functions, everything falls into place and it finally will make sense to you. So the nail plate is the nail that we paint, so the gray part on this diagram. So the nail bed is the part that bleeds if your nail breaks very low. And there are two seals that are important when it comes to the topic of extending your nail bed. And one is hyponychium, so this is the orange little part. So that's the seal at the front of the nail. And then we have the skin fold, this whole area basically that goes from the knuckle really to the nail. And this is a fold. So that is called technically proximal nail fold. And the edge of that fold is a little bit harder, it's a little bit more keratinized, because this forms a protection for the very important part of the nail, which is the matrix area underneath. And in between the skin here and the nail plate, we have cuticle. So the cuticle actually is what keeps the skin fold and the nail together. Sometimes some people have this skin, the edge of that fold, very tightly stuck to the nail, and instead of the skin letting go at some point, it really sticks for some reason to the nail, and it stretches with the nail as the nail grows. So it's not that the cuticle is crawling up the nail, it's just that the nail has that skin stuck to it and it pulls the skin with it. So really it's a stretched skin fold and not a cuticle that grows a lot. So in that case, if we gently try to reposition that skin fold to its natural position, then the nail bed looks longer as well. I know that many people will lift the skin fold very forcefully, and they cut it off. But in my opinion, and in the opinion of pretty much, I would say, all dermatologists, that is very risky. And I personally prefer to approach it very gently and in a non-invasive way. And I do have some videos on how I do it. And I also have a video called How to Correct Stuck Skin Around the Nails. And this is one of our viewers and her progress in 3 weeks. So you see in her case that initially you don't see the lunula, so the little moon part on the nail, but eventually you do. So the skin fold or the nail contour improved, and now the nail looks a little bit longer. So the other way of extending the nail bed is to have the nail bed attach further to the nail bed. And there are some, I think they're Japanese nail techs, showing quite impressive results using their methods, and many people are curious about how they do that. And here's one of the examples. I mean, absolutely incredible, absolutely incredible. So because I have been a nail tech for 30 years now, I know how it happens, and because I have seen it also many, many times. So I started with nail extensions because at the beginning of the 90s, long nails were in, and I noticed a trend. So I hope I can explain this well. So when I extended the short nails, so when they had no free edge, and I extended them either with tips or with, back then probably on the form with acrylic, when the client came back 3 weeks later, usually for a fill, you could see about 3 millimeter gap from the cuticle area, so from the skin fold really to the product. It was about 3 millimeters, but there was still no visible natural nail underneath. So still you could only see the extension. So what happened? Or sometimes there was just a little bit of the nail, so like 1 millimeter of the nail, and the rest was just an extension. So this would happen, I would say, quite often. It usually happens. It just happens to a different degree. So this was like unintended consequence of this nail extending process, which I did notice and I commented on many times. I'm like, wow, look at your nails, they changed the shape so much. But the clients were more interested in the total length of the nails and not really in the shape of the nail bed. But they did notice that the shape has changed, that the nails are more slender and nicer looking. So the same thing happened when we did overlays. So overlay means when you apply a coating, so either gel or acrylic, on the nail without extending the nail. So when clients came with very short nails, so let's say the free edge was like 1 millimeter, and I applied the coating, I shaped it. When they came back 3 weeks later again, there was 3 millimeter gap. Again, for everyone it's different. For some people it was 2, for some people it was 4 millimeters, but approximately 3 millimeter gap. But the end of the nail, so the free edge was still short, was like 2 millimeters or 1. So they would often comment that their nails didn't grow, but they clearly did, obviously, because of the gap that you could see at the cuticle. So what happened was the nail just attached itself to the nail bed further. So that made the nails look more slender. Now, the important question is it permanent? And the answer sadly is no. So for example, when my client had beautiful nails all grown out and all nice looking, and for some reason they broke one nail and then they picked off the gel, unfortunately, that nail would look quite different than from the others. So that nail looked more flat and the nail bed again was shorter. So from my experience, this process of extending the nail bed and then the nail bed shortening is quite quick. So usually you see the results in the next appointment and the after. So it attaches itself very quickly, or sometimes it's a little bit longer, but you see it, and it happens the other way as quickly as it happened. So when someone doesn't have anything on their nails, especially like no nail polish, if they pick a little bit or they bite their nail, the nail bed shortens again, unfortunately. So for some people, again, like I mentioned, it happens more. For some people it happens less, but it happens almost to all clients to a certain degree. I really noticed that was a very big eye-opener during the lockdown. We had our businesses shut down for 3 months, and at that time I was only doing already just gel polish, so C&D shellac or the regular polishes, and my clients would come back on a regular basis, usually every 2 weeks. And after the 3 months, the clients came back with no product on their nails, and their nails looked quite different, I have to say. So they were shorter, the nail beds were shorter, and the nails were more flat. After a couple appointments again, the nails went back to its nice shape. So I have a couple videos talking about this process, and you can see in those videos the before and after and how the shape changed. So even now when I have clients that come in, because I have some clients that just come to get their nails done for certain occasions, for holidays or something, I see that as well. So I do, for example, the C&D shellac, which is like a soft gel overlay. Really, when they come back, their nails are different. They are a little bit longer, they're more slender, and then we usually put a nail polish on, just like a clear nail polish. Obviously, my clients take it off after a few days, and then they go on for another 6 months with nothing. When they can come back, their nails are back to normal, back to their original shape. So let me speculate on how the Japanese nail technicians achieve these incredible results many of you are talking about. So I don't want to generalize, but I have to say that I have noticed that the industry over there in Japan, it's quite different. Many nail techs are very highly trained. They are very meticulous, and the nail industry is much more respected. So the nail techs, they invest in obtaining very good skills, and they invest also in excellent quality tools, and the services are not cheap. So a little off topic, I was just talking to a nail tool manufacturer in Germany, and they have different type of tools, different type of quality tools. So they have tools for retail, for like to sell in pharmacies, and for professionals, tools, and middle of the road tools, and very also expensive tools. So one of the tools, I was like, wow, this looks really good. and it piqued my interest. And I always want like the best tools for my nail kit that we sell. So you know what they actually said to me? They said, and I really do appreciate their honesty. So they said they would not recommend this tool for the European or American market because it's just too expensive. It's not necessary to have such high quality tool. And they said that they sell this tool pretty much exclusively in Japan, because in Japan they will pay for this type of quality, which goes with what I was saying earlier. So still a little off topic, but I have to share this. So my first electric file that I got 20 years ago was Japanese. Erica ATA used to carry these files and they used to service them in the US. That file was like the Rolls Royce of electric files, and the price tag matched. So it was like $800 back then. And 20 years ago, $800 was like a lot of money. It still is. So the file was fantastic, and I still have the original file, that file that I purchased for $800, and it still works like a dream. So guess what? Well, obviously the market has changed, and nowadays people are just not willing to pay so much money for electric file, and they stopped selling these files, and now you can buy electric file that's good quality for probably 100 or 200, and they don't last as long. They don't last for 20 years anymore. They are not even really, you can't even maintain them properly, because the other files that I had, I would send them back to the US for maintenance once a year, and they lasted me, like I said, 20 years. So these files that we have now, they last about 1 to 2 years, and then you basically throw them away. The companies don't offer maintenance, so you just have to buy electric file every year or every couple of years. So I don't know how I feel about this, but I digress. So going back to these amazing Japanese transformations. So it's also very interesting how they market these services, because they have very good before and afters, very clear, very, very good quality pictures, but they also explain very clearly who is a good candidate for this type of service. So who is a good candidate? So someone who is willing to pre-book regular appointments and is willing to commit to this whole process. So I've also seen them mention that home care is crucial to the success of this process, which I 100% agree. And that people that are hard on their nails might not have good results and might not be good candidates. Amazing. I absolutely agree with that. So they mostly do the transformations with acrylic, and I say mostly because they don't show how the process is done. And believe it or not, you probably will be shocked, but acrylic, technically the proper term for acrylic is a liquid and powder system, because all enhancement products belong to the acrylate family. So it's really a liquid and powder system. It's a king of enhancements. It's the best. So yes, I know it smells pretty bad. You get used to it, but it allows for a lot of creativity. And when it's used properly, it's very good, and obviously it's not toxic. So I think most likely they use the liquid and powder system. And one of the reasons is that after the application, the product, the liquid and powder, as it's setting, it stays moldable for a little bit, and you can pinch the nail gently so you can guide it, so you can make it a little curved, and which makes the nail a little bit more narrow, especially when people have very wide nails. So you can kind of do that with gel, but it's not the same. Gel is flexible. It's too flexible to hold the shape, and especially after it cures, it just bounces back, and it's just not the same as the liquid and powder. Another benefit of liquid and powder is that you can soak it off. So when the nail is prepped gently, when the product is worn gently, and when it's soaked off skillfully and professionally, this can leave barely any damage to the nail. And this is why you don't see a lot of damage to the nail when the product is removed. Again, 3 things have to happen: proper prep, gentle prep, very skillful prep, gentle wear, so people have to baby their nails, and gentle removal. These three things have to happen for no damage to happen. So for the after photos, I think that the product is soaked off. So in order to maintain this look, I truly think that you have to maintain the coating. And I believe the coating is reapplied, maybe pinched again, to keep that nail in shape. So maybe after a few applications, they change the coating to a soft gel, because it looks like some people maybe use gel. It's shiny, it's quite thin, but maybe they do such an amazing job with acrylic as well. I'm not sure. So I think with regular manicures, proper gentle shaping and polish application, that look can be maintained. And I have seen many of my clients maintain that look with regular polish. But the polish sadly has to be worn all the time. And when I say that, people are like, well, but didn't you say that nail polish damages the nail? Well, yes, because everything has pros and cons. So nothing is really good or bad. It's just you have to understand the products and what they offer and what are the cons are, right? What are the risks are. So if the polish is taken off, then the nails go back to its natural shape. So like I said, it has pros and cons. And wearing polish, yes, it can have damaging effects on the nail plate. So I've read studies, I've seen studies that suggest, I'm gonna be careful with words, that the nail polish application can oxidize the nail plate quite quickly. And that's when you see the nail becoming more yellow and dry. Right? Because people think that that dryness is caused by the removers. It's not caused by the removers. And it's not really dryness. What you see is uneven surface. And that is caused by the nail cells, because the nails are not like solid surface. It's a whole bunch of little nail cells that look like little pancakes that are stuck on top of each other. So basically then the pancakes, instead of lying flat, they are a little bit lifted. And that makes the light bounce off the nail differently, and the nail looks more dull. It's not as shiny anymore. So they are just not laying flat anymore. But this is a topic for another video, and let me know if you're interested, okay? So let me know in the comment section if you are surprised by this explanation or you thought that that's what's happening. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.